We are on the brink of one of the most biggest financial meltdowns of all time. Oh, you think this is just like a regular doom and gloom video for clicks? Oh no. I'm about to break it down and prove my case to you right now. I'm Larry of the No Regret Show. High school dropout, but done pretty well for himself just by having critical thinking knowledge, asking questions, being able to spot bull crap, not rolling over for the establishment, and pretty much just being an independent thinker and being able to be a critical thinker. You see, ladies and gentlemen, we've been here before with these Bitcoin ETFs. Oh, it might not have been called a Bitcoin ETF. It was called this.
Responsibility for the collapse of 2008.
Yes.
Are you in any way embarrassed that the U.S. taxpayer had to bail out Goldman?
We got funds from the government, and it's an embarrassing situation then, and it's embarrassing now.
Do you think that those funds were critically important as to you being able to stay in business?
I think they were critically important. I don't know I can't say what would have happened otherwise.
I understand.
But they were critically important for the system, and therefore critically important to us.
Do you feel you owe anything to the taxpayers because of that bailout?
I think yes, and we live in the good. Yes, and for many other reasons.
I can tell you that there's some things in my job as U.S. Senator from Montana that don't make a lot of sense. One of the things that doesn't make a lot of sense to me is why these synthetic, and I know you've got an answer for it, but why these synthetic instruments came about when there's nothing in them. And Claire's right. It's just like betting on a sports event. It's like betting on whether it's going to rain. It's like betting on a bunch of stuff that doesn't make any sense. It's not about hedging as a farmer would do it, or as an airline, or a coal company, or whatever it might be. This is just playing around from my perspective. And the fact is that I think part of this playing around is why taxpayers had to bail out part of what went on Wall Street. And I've got some issues with that. And I, like other members on this committee, I think you're a smart guy. And I would like to work with you. I think this country's in dire need of Wall Street reform. And I think that you could add some to the equation as long as we can bore down and get to the facts.
Senator,
I think transparency is critically important, and making sure the consumers are protected. I can't tell you how many stories I've heard of folks that have lost their retirement, lost their college tuition for their kids, lost all sorts of bad things, while other folks that got bailed out are making literally millions of dollars.
Senator, I agree, and I would like to be helpful, and I will be helpful. And I'd like to say another thing. I can tell you, and I try to, what the hedging purpose was of having people be able to take long or short positions synthetically in housing in order to shape their portfolios. But that's not the end of the inquiry. If at the end of the day, so I'm explaining what the purpose is.
Yeah.
But even at the end of the day, if they're too complicated and too risky and generate the kind of risk that apparently these did, then finding a social purpose or a hedging purpose in them is not the end. Notwithstanding that, they may be something that should not be permitted. And so therefore, I'm not making a spirited defense that anybody...
Up the occupied Wall Street Journal, but we'll come back to that later. Between 1979 and 2007, the household after-tax income of the top 1% of earners in the US had increased nearly 4 times, or 275%. Those at the lower end of the scale had seen only an 18% rise.
The fact that we had just gone through the greatest recession since the Great Depression sort of forced the subject into public conversation.
Protests in New York had in fact started in June 20.
Yeah, CDOs. There was a movie made about that. Selena Gomez was in it, Margot Robbie. What's that guy's name who played Joker? I forgot it. What's his name? Christian Bale. I think it was Christian Bale. He was in it. Steve Carell was in it. Brad Pitt. Very good movie. It actually describes, I suggest you watch that movie. It actually describes everything that is happening right now. let me give you a rundown, okay? See, here's what happens. What happened was that guy who was talking worked for Goldman Sachs. Hank Paulson, who was the Jerome Powell of now, Hank Paulson was the Jerome Powell back then, if that makes any sense. Now, he was appointed by George Bush Jr. George Bush Jr. let Hank Paulson sell out of all his Goldman Sachs shares. Goldman Sachs was run by Hank Paulson, who was running the Fed in 2008. I know it sounds confusing, but just Google who Hank Paulson is, or just stick with me here, okay? Stick with me. Hank Paulson sold out of all his shares. Perfect timing, right before the 2008 housing crisis. And I believe he got a chance to sell them out tax-free without paying any taxes on it. I believe I did read that. So he became the head of the Fed, Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs helped do these CDOs. You know, these CDOs that were placed in people's pensions. People were investing in them in their 401ks. What happened was they helped make a lot of these CDOs. They made a crap ton of money going up. But Michael Burry was not the only person who bet against them. You see, there's a time limit on a lot of these risky assets, whether the interest rates fluctuate, whether people stop paying their loans, they start defaulting. What happened was they made money going down too. So not only did they give themselves bonuses going up, you're going to love this, they made money going down and gave themselves more bonuses. But while it was going down, people were...
Yeah, I am homeless. I live in this car. Yeah, I spent all my money on this car. Now I don't have a home.
Can I have my money back?
Losing their homes, people were losing their jobs, people were losing their pensions, people were losing everything. And then Hank Paulson goes, I don't know how it was created. You know how it was created because you helped create it. And then all your banks got together because everyone was defaulting. Lehman Brothers. The CEO of Lehman Brothers, I forgot his name. He looks like a little snithering whatever the hell. But he now has a job making millions of dollars once again after he lost millions of dollars for people and he was able to take his money with him and have a bonus. But anyway, I'm going ahead of myself. So Hank Paulson goes, I don't know how this happened. All the banks go, we don't know how this happened. All your big brokerage institutions, we don't know how this happened. Yeah, you were investing in them. Now you need bailouts. So what happens is Hank Paulson, he meets with George Bush Jr. Yo, the financial markets are crashing. We need help with this. We need bailout, meaning we need the taxpayers to work longer. We need their kids to work longer. We need their kids to work longer hours. We need them never to retire. Oh, they can't because we lost their pensions gambling in this stuff too. Yeah, teachers, construction, firemen, police. A lot of people lost a lot of that money in that stuff. Now, here's the thing. Do you know they actually came to Warren Buffett and said, hey, can you purchase Lehman Brothers? He was like, what? Purchase Lehman Brothers? Hell nah. Y'all been gambling. I'm not touching that crap. So here's the thing. It was Lehman Brothers or AIG. They wanted him to buy one of them. I don't know what it was. But here's the thing. What happened was not only did they make money going up, they made money going down. And then after they got the bailout money, do you know what these big banking sons of bitches did? They gave themselves bonuses. They gave themselves more money. They're chilling in Palm Springs. They're overseas. They're redoing their mansions on Park Ave, all with the taxpayers' dollars. But I thought you guys ain't have no money. So you're probably asking yourself, Larry, how is this happening again? What the hell does this have to do with Bitcoin? Here's what it has to do. The same thing is happening right now. You see what was going on in them CDOs? They were placing risky loans in those CDOs and they were putting them all together with people who really could pay their loans. They were putting the risky ones with the people who could. And then it was just a big mess. They were putting trash and junk in that. Pensions were buying them. They knew they were risky. They knew they were going to collapse after a while with the defaults and interest rates. That's what they're doing right now with Bitcoin. You see, Bitcoin has no use. We don't use it for anything. It doesn't make any money. So what happens is they're putting Bitcoin and whatever the hell you want. They're market makers. What they do is they put things together that they can make money on. You think they did it for you because they love Bitcoin? No, they did it for you because they know a lot of people will invest in this and they can make a shit ton of money. So they're putting Bitcoin in an ETF, charging real fees. I believe Fidelity's FBTC's fund is 0.25. That's real money you got to pay. That's not Bitcoin money. They know there's a time limit on this. Michael Saylor is doing the roadshow where he needs to keep this Ponzi going. He needs people to keep buying Bitcoin. Want to know why? He took out loans, real money from real banks, and he purchased Bitcoin. I wonder who he purchased Bitcoin through. Who does Michael, did he purchase it through Coinbase? Does it show a record of who he purchased this through? Did he really purchase it? Are these companies really mining it? But either way, they're putting Bitcoin, they're leveraging it now. There's margin on Bitcoin, all this options on Bitcoin. So pretty much there's derivatives and gambling and options on things that aren't even there that people are saying is there. How do you know they're there? You trust Wall Street before? Are you willing to trust them again? I'm not. So here's why I've always said buy tangible assets, buy index funds, buy dividend stock portfolios. Buy dividend stocks, build a portfolio, because then companies that have real profits, companies on your shelves like Pepsi, Coke, your medication for Big Mama or yourself, you turn that label around and there's usually a medical company there. Here's an idea, a free thought for you. You can invest in that, because if you are investing in that, chances are somebody else is buying that and there's profits. Anyway, I'm getting off track. They're putting Bitcoin in these ETFs. People are going to buy them. Michael Saylor is taking out real debt, meaning he's issuing bonds. People are purchasing his bonds. He's paying you no interest because he knows Bitcoin doesn't make any money. So what can he pay you with? So he's taking out debt from a bank to purchase more and more and more Bitcoin. What happens if Bitcoin goes down? See, people are saying there's an infinite Bitcoin money glitch. What happened with the Chase people that thought there was an infinite money glitch? Eventually, things come back to haunt you. I even seen a thing that said Bitcoin can go to infinity and beyond. What the hell is beyond infinity? Infinity is already infinity. There's no infinity times infinity or infinity and beyond, okay? That's like a Star Trek thing, I think they say. But anyway, what happens is he's taking real money out. He's taking real money that eventually he's going to have to pay back. How is he going to pay back this money? He's eventually going to have to sell shares, which he's already been doing for his own gain. He's eventually going to have to sell shares. People are eventually going to take profits. When Bitcoin comes down, that's where you start to see the domino effect happen of you'll have more. If you have more sellers than buyers, you have an issue. Wall Street will once again collapse. They will come to the tax-paying citizens. But guess what? You're going to tax a bunch of people you can only tax us so much, because guess what we're doing? We're putting our money in tax haven things. Yeah, the laws that the wealthy wrote for themselves. Guess what? We starting to take advantage of them. We're putting our money in some of these tax sheltered accounts, Roth IRAs, LLCs. Oh yeah, it's perfectly legal to do that stuff because they wrote the laws for themselves, and we are following that too. So this is why I say don't invest in speculative things. Meme coins, meme stocks, a lot of stuff. Invest in things where over the long term, you won't have to pay a lot of taxes on it, because remember something. They need to tax the taxpayers. They will start to raise taxes on distributions. Your pensions might not be there. Remember, a lot of your pensions, they want your pension money. Pensions will go under too. Therefore, you will work the rest of your life, or you will end up in a prison system. You remember I made a video on how wealthy people are investing in mass incarceration? What's going to happen is they're going to turn a lot of your middle class people who once had homes, and they're going to put them in prison. One day, the police is going to come knocking at your door because your daddy or your mommy might have been doing something illegal just to keep that roof over your head. Not only are we in a crypto bubble, we are in a car buying bubble, we are in a housing bubble, we are in an AI bubble, we are in a tech bubble, we're in a stock market bubble, we are an influencer grifter bubble, we are in an everything bubble. And one day it will come down, and maybe I'll do an I told you so video. Oh, you damn right I'm doing an I told you so video, because I have been telling you eventually. You see, we don't know when bubbles will crack, but they eventually one day. So I'm Larry of the No Regret Show. If you like the fact that I just gave you a rundown of pretty much how Wall Street is rigged against people who are uneducated, think about liking, subscribing, joining the channel. Thank you. No regrets. Have a wonderful day, and have a happy Thanksgiving if you celebrate it. Turkey lurkey stuffing. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. I don't worry about market stuff. That I hang out with family because that's what counts. They're not here forever. No regrets. Get it.